This story comes from the pages of Marvel Hellhunters Issue number 4. Please support the official release. The next issue picks up immediately after the previous left off, where we see Ghost Rider and the young Bucky careening into the skies as they descend upon the giant demon crab attacking them. Managing to slice off one of the creature's legs, Rider got to safety, where Sebastian Zardos would then cast a spell which summoned some pretty sweet magical weapons for the Howling Commandos, which even consisted of a rocket launcher for Bucky. I haven't seen a kid this excited for murder since Hit Girl, and you know what? Good for him. Using their new weapons to attack the monster, Nick Fury would spot a nearby truck that was carrying a conveniently placed gigantic container of gasoline. Knowing the first rule of video games, and that's to shoot any shiny red container you see, Fury fired upon the truck, which caused a massive fireball to erupt and cover the creature aflame, where we see the many corpses that made up its body as it began to scream in agony. Using this distraction, we see Ghost Rider temporarily ditch his flaming bike for something even cooler, which was a flaming tank, which he took full control of and fired upon the beast, taking its head completely off, ending this boss fight once and for all. As the soldiers approached the carcass, they wondered if it was truly dead, where much to their horror, they would notice it begin to stir once more. However, instead of Mr. Krabs' twice-removed cousin-in-law coming back for round 2, we'd see the monster's flesh slice open, where a bloodied Wolverine would emerge, gasping for air after plunging into its heart in the previous issue. The boys would ask Logan if he was alright, where, still covered in demon zombie guts, would then puke, asking them, why shouldn't he be? You know, Wolverine is the man. Only he could go through something this traumatic and just brush it off like it's a literal Tuesday. Wolverine is the unbothered Chad we should all strive to be. As the dust settled, we'd see the ever blood-hungry Bucky approach the monster's corpse to claim a new Nazi ear for himself, where Fury scolded the child, telling him to let the dead be. However, we'd see the thing still wasn't quite dead yet, as one of the mangled melted faces would begin to speak in German, telling the men to kill them. Extremely unnerved by what she just saw, Peggy Carter told Fury to put the undead out of their misery so they could finally go after Bruckner. We'd then discover that these creatures operated on a sort of hive mind, saying that it was already too late, that they had been summoned to delay these heroes, and that the war would soon be over, and that this land would soon be their paradise. Having enough demon nonsense for one day, Zardos opened fire with his mystic weapon, striking the abomination directly in the head. Just then, we'd see some sort of purple vortex appear in the skies where it would go to touch down. A rightfully dumbfounded Wolverine would then ask what was going on, where Zardos would then use the Eye of Agamotto to look into the heart of the storm, where we'd see just how awful things had gotten. The team would then get a horrifying visual of the English war zone, where we'd see dozens of Bruckner's infected demon brethren raining literal hell upon the Allies. The team would argue that they needed Captain America now more than ever, where we'd learn that Steve was reporting in, but had already got himself stuck in the ice. A depressed Zardos would relay that they were out of options. All was officially lost. Knowing what was at stake here, Sal Romero argued back with the man, saying that they needed to get to England ASAP and finally take out Bruckner, where Zardos, maintaining his stance, said that Bruckner had won, and that their only option was to regroup to France. However, Romero was not taking no for an answer, where we'd see his eyes ignite with the fires of hell, telling the man that he gave his literal soul for this mission. Transforming into the Ghost Rider once more, An infuriated Romero would then tell the men that he absolutely was not leaving until Bruckner was dead, and that every single last one of his murdered comrades were avenged. We then see Romero's anger completely overtake him, where a second voice would emerge saying that Sal had made a bargain and that he would not be released until that bargain was met. Emerging from the man, we'd see the physical form of the spirit Zarathos that was possessing him. Here we discover that it was once an archangel of justice, but was now a spirit of vengeance. Sal Romero was spared from a violent, miserable death, and his task was still unfinished. Fury would then tell the spirit that it was impossible for them to win this war alone, as they were quickly losing their allies, where Zarathos would then clap back, saying that their mortal problems were of no consequence to him. The bottom line was, Bruckner was an unhallowed, a creature possessed by Caliphael who should not even exist, and if left unchecked, would make a kingdom on Earth that would rival that of Hell itself. Saying that not even the power of Ghost Rider was enough at this juncture, good old Zarathos lent his power throughout time and space to each of our heroes, giving them incredible new abilities, such as Wolverine getting his metal claws decades before the Weapon X program, which could now ignite with pure hellfire. Man, that's so cool. Yet another action figure I'll need them to add to the Marvel Legends list. We'd then be taken to Dover Air Force Base in England, where we'd see the remaining US soldiers preparing to give their all against the ever-growing zombified demonic forces, quickly making their way toward them. The war would then commence, where we'd see the men get literally torn apart, much to the delight of Bruckner, who declared that this world was finally his. The dude didn't check to make sure the coast was clear though before emoting, where we'd see him get shot right in the chest, where he was rather aggravated to see the newly powered up Howling Commandos, where basically the whole squad got their entire bodies pack-a-punched with the fires of hell. Welcoming this new challenge, Bruckner ordered for his men to kill the invaders, where out of nowhere, we'd begin to see the zombies get blown apart one by one. Wondering just who could have done this, the demon Nazi would then look to the skies, where we'd see Ghost Rider had taken over an entire plane, which was now harvesting the souls of the 101st Screaming Eagles, saying that this would be the day they would finally send Bruckner and his scum to the depths of hell.